KFSR and CMAC present the Central Valley Ledger, a public affairs program featuring stories from all over the Central Valley with Sevag Tateosian, 90.7 KFSR.
I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Welcome to the Central Valley Ledger. We're recording out of the beautiful downtown Fresno studios of the Community Media Access Collaborative of Fresno and Clovis. And I have to say, we're near the Fulton Street. The Fulton Mall is now open, and so I had to give that a plug. But today we're going to be talking about solar with our guest, Laura. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sevag.
Laura, I'm going to allow you to say your last name because I practiced it, but I still don't think I've got it right.
Only 12 letters. It's Geuvjehizian.
Geuvjehizian. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So for the record, I've known you for a very long time, back from Fresno State years and years and years ago.
Probably even before that.
Even before then. So welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good to be here.
What do you think of our setup?
That's really neat.
And you know they're all volunteers, right?
Wow,
so we're
that's
in the
amazing.
studio, volunteers making this happen. But enough about the show. Let's talk about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. I was actually born in Southern California, moved to Fresno at a young age, so I feel like this is home. This is where I belong, and you know, love it. Don't see myself ever leaving Fresno.
So I was born in Southern California, and I came here at a small age, and I love it here too. But where in LA?
Pasadena.
I was your neighbor. I was born in Glendale.
Wow.
But we moved here, and you know what? The Valley and Fresno is just a wonderful place to be. I'm so glad we're here.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into solar, because you weren't always into solar.
No, I'm actually a business major and marketing major, and I was considering going into teaching actually, and they approached me and said, how'd you like to come and work for Turnkey Solar part-time? And I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity for me to still be employed and be able to get my teaching credential. So it's worked out quite well. I'm enjoying it, learning a lot about solar, and able to sub and get my teaching credential at the same time.
Why did you decide to go into marketing and business when you were in college?
It was always something that intrigued me. I loved the management, watching different management styles, you know, how people were interacting with one another at a corporate level, and it just always seemed to be so interesting, and I thought I'd love to be a part of it.
And then you decide you want to get into teaching. How did that happen? Because, you know, I know that you've done some pretty cool things after college, but teaching, why teaching?
I think I have more of a heart for service, and I've worked for a couple of nonprofits, which I absolutely loved. So I feel like I absolutely believe in higher education, and I think it would just be perfect.
Solar now.
Solar.
When you were deciding to get into solar, why'd you say yes?
I did a lot of research on it, and I'll be honest, when my parents purchased solar, I was very against it, and I thought it was a very big scam. And so once I was approached with this opportunity, I started researching, and it's a company I believe in. I thought, okay, I can put my name behind this.
Do you find that, and that's a great point you made, by the way, because I'm seeing that too, where people think it's a big scam. Do you find that that's what a lot of people believe, that this is just some money-making thing? There's
a lot of misconceptions about it. They feel that you put the solar panel on and you're going to pay out the door, and it's not going to return. Well, I see that the bills come with just the PG&E service charge or very minimal charge. So it is working. You know, there's a lot of valid points that people make, but there's good reasons that you should get solar.
What are some things people should think about before jumping into solar?
How long they're going to be living in their home. That's one of the big things, because, you know, when you do purchase solar panels, there is a return on your investment for X amount of years, and that we tell you up front. It's going to take you so many years to pay it off. So keep that in mind if you're planning on moving within the next year or so. Maybe wait until the new home. You know, that's probably one of the biggest things.
Sometimes I hear if your bill is not too much, it may not be worth it. Is there and this is, you may not know the answer to this question, but is there a figure, like if I'm paying maybe $75 a month for my electricity, I don't know who that would be, but is there like a number you're thinking?
I can't really think of a number. So what we do is we take the average of your 12 months and determine how many kilowatts you're using and figure out how many panels are needed. And from there, your payments are typically average of what you pay PG&E. So instead of paying PG&E, you're paying off your solar. And after X amount of years, all you have is just a flat fee that you have to pay PG&E.
How do you save money then? I mean, I hear sometimes stories and commercials, people say, I now am not worried about electricity, or, you know, my wife, the funny one is, my wife doesn't get mad at me for leaving the lights on because I'm saving money through solar. Are you seeing that? I mean, at the end of the day, are you seeing people whose bill, whether it be paying the solar company or PG&E, go down?
Absolutely. And so there's, even with that now, my wife isn't upset with me because I leave the light on. That's another misconception. If you put solar on, it doesn't mean, you know, run the lights all day long or things like that, because again, your bill is based on the 12 months of actual usage, your historical usage. So we're looking at it saying, well, this is how much you've used. Let's make your solar panels, your solar setup according to that. Now, if you think I have solar and I'm going to start leaving my lights on, or I'm going to start running more things, then you tell your energy consultant ahead of time and they'll allot for more panels. And then you can run a little bit more. But a lot of folks think that I have solar panels, I can run the air conditioning all day long.
And you're with Turnkey Construction. But there are a ton of solar companies out there. How do you select? How should I select which company to go with? Okay, better question. What research should I be doing?
Really, I think get 3 different quotes, talk to your neighbors, go online and look at different reviews of companies. Most of it's word of mouth. I know some of the bigger companies have a lot of huge marketing budgets, but we're local, so if it's something that you're looking that I can call them anytime, or if I can't remember how to monitor my panels, let me give them a call, you know, and we're always here, as are a lot of companies, but my biggest recommendation is at least 3 bids.
And I like the honest answer, because if you were a salesperson and you didn't care, you'd be like, no, come with us, we'll do the best rate. But I agree with you. I think 3 quotes on anything you do, any kind of purchase you're going to make, 3 quotes is a good number to do, especially because, you know, what's the average cost of a solar panel? Are we talking like 15, 20,000?
So one panel alone usually averages, if you divide your cost up, but it's not actual panel, it's done by kilowatt hours. But it usually averages about 800 to 1,000 depending on who you're going with and how big your system is. Of course, the larger the system, there's more wiggle room to bring the price down. But yeah.
I hear that you need a new roof before you can install solar, because solar is still installed in roofs. Is that true? What are your thoughts on that?
It's not true. So with any company, what they should be doing is going through and checking your roof and letting you know. If they recommend a new roof, then move from there. But with us, with Turnkey, I know personally, I can speak to what we do, is all of our work is guaranteed for 25 years. And if we come onto your roof and we determine that we can install on your roof, everywhere that we've made a hole or whatever we've done, that's warranted also for 25 years. So our work may actually outlast your roof because it's sealed and everything's done, so you won't get the leaks. So it's not necessarily that you need a new roof.
Solar could be bought or leased.
Correct.
How does each one work?
So with a lease, you're paying somebody, you're paying the solar company X amount, and it ends up being about 4 times more than if you would have purchased, but there is no upfront cost. That's the one thing that people like, no upfront cost. But the tax credit that people talk about for solar, the solar company gets that tax credit. You won't receive it. If you purchase, it's yours. You know, you have a certain amount of time for the return on your investment. You get the tax credit, and also it adds value to your home.
How does the financing work? Because this is a big purchase. If you have a bigger house, even more expensive. I mean, people I know have spent $18,000, $20,000 on solar. How does the financing work?
There's a couple different options. I know there's a lot of credit unions that do loans specifically for solar. You know, so however you do that, and then of course the tax credit will come into play too, and you can use that to pay down the loan or however you choose. But we always say consult your accountant. That's one of the best things you can do.
Explain how the process works. So could it be that I use so much electricity that my solar doesn't cover it? Or, you know, I'm just kind of questioning. I don't,
Right.
As you can tell, I don't have solar. But I'm, like many other people, I'm thinking about solar, and that's why I wanted you to come on the show, is because there's a lot of people on the fence. How does it work? Is there a chance that I would use more solar than I produce?
To use more energy than your solar produces, there is a chance. So if you do, that shows up on your bill as an extra, you know, the extra cost. But whatever solar that you did produce, it's covering it. And like I said, our 12 months of historical usage typically will cover your usage if you're consistent with that. If you start leaving your lights on more, different things, of course it's going to change, but it should cover it. Every solar company usually will cover just over 100%, barely, just to make sure to be on the safe side with the solar panels. Now, you have the option, if we tell you you need 28 panels, you can say, I just want to put 20 on there. We will advise you it's not going to cover your entire PG&E bill.
So there are some things that people need to talk about before getting in solar. How does it work? Like the sun hits the sun hits the solar panel, and then what?
So the sun hits the solar panel, and then that energy goes into the inverter. So each panel has an inverter. That inverter actually turns that power into the power that you use in your home. So it's a DC to AC, which is a more techie term, but yeah, it hits your panel, goes to the inverter, and goes right into your home with power you can use.
Where does it store it? I'm asking very general questions because I don't know anything about solar. Where does it store it?
So it's on the grid. It stores it on the grid. PG&E knows how much solar you're producing. So you'll be able to use just what you've produced. There's not a banking system just yet. I don't know if that's going to come out anytime, but just what you produce, you'll be able to use.
So in the summer, in Fresno, like this past summer, I don't imagine there's any issues with sun, light, and gathering enough electricity. How does it work in the winter? Does it carry over from the summer?
It won't carry over, so it will be a little bit less because there is less hours of sunlight, and of course if it's rainy and cloudy, not as much, but you'll still produce. There will be some level of production, and it usually, I can speak for us personally at our home, it covers it to run the heater for X amount of time.
So does it then matter? Let's say that the house, some people want the house very, very cold. They have the solar panel. Does it take longer to cool down the house? I mean, PG&E, you turn on the meter, and all of a sudden, or the temperature gauge, and all of a sudden the house cools down. With solar, is there a delay, or it immediately works?
Immediately. There's no delay because it's going into the grid, and it's just sitting there waiting to be consumed. So you're creating all this energy, and it's kind of sitting there, and then you get to use it. But like I said, it's not like a banking system. So whatever's unused, it's going back.
How do you clean the solar panels? Because my roof is angled. I don't want to get up there every week and clean the panels. Not to say that you have to clean the panels every week, but typically people on Saturdays or Sundays will do the house cleaning. I've never seen someone do a solar panel cleaning. How does the cleaning work?
Some folks like to leave it to the good old-fashioned rain, but now that depends too on where you live. If you're in the country, or maybe you're where there's a little bit more dust, it's recommended to have them clean more often. There's a lot of companies actually that will come out there and climb up on your roof, 1-story, 2-story. If you have a whole bunch of angles on your roof, they'll come in and they'll clean it for you.
What's the solution? Is it water, or what? I mean, so windows, you use the blue formula that everybody talks about. You spray the blue formula and wipe it off. Solar panels, is it different?
They have a solution that they use. They're using some sort of a pressure washer to get it off, to clean off. Some folks haven't had their panels washed in so long, and it takes 5 or 6 good tries to clean it off. And along with the cleaning, when you get your solar panels, you'll be able to see how much you're producing. So if you see, oh, my panels now are not producing at what they should, of course you can always call the company and say, can you help me out? What's going on? Either something's wrong with the panel or the inverter, or your panels are so dirty that the sun's not able to penetrate through.
That was my next question, and you answered it. So if the panel is dirty, chances are it's going to produce less?
Mm-hmm. And we're not talking a little bit of dust. We're not talking, a month or 2 worth of dust sitting on their dirt. We're talking over years, or a year or 2. You should at least have them washed every so often, but the rain will clear up a bit.
Who determines what angle to put the solar panel on? Because I asked the question because some people have them on one side, some people have them on the other, some people have them a different way. Ultimately, who and how is it determined where to put the panels?
So there's a lot of software out there, but all the research that's been done is it's optimal to face south. So you'll see some homes that are east or west facing that may have what they call a reverse tilt. It looks like bleachers on the back of their house. So it's optimal at the south angle. So it's just, and it depends on your roof, where you may have your AC unit up top, or you may have different things coming out of the roof that they have to try to Tetris it around it and make it look as clean and as nice as possible. So it's not a lot of panels all over.
So do you find that your company or a lot of other companies will also do other work that needs to be done to make the panel stand out? Or, I imagine that you have to angle it in a certain way and stuff like that. All that will be explained to whoever buys it, correct?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it's actually rails that are put down. As far as other work, there's not much work outside of doing everything involved with solar, unless you need another roof. Other work, we do, Turnkey does other work. It started as a construction company in 2012, and they started doing solar in 2013. So if someone calls us and wants to do solar panels and may have a remodel or something they'd like to do, we're able to assist with that too. So it's one company, one stop, we're able to do it.
Let's continue on the solar panel. What else should people be worried about? I mean, there's going to be wires or something running to the side of your house, correct?
Correct.
What is that?
So the box that we're able to track how much it's producing, the one wire will come down and it's covered. Everything will be covered. It should be all flush to your roof, and the wiring should be done from underneath. So it's just a clean thing. And then it'll come to where your PG&E panels are, where your breaker boxes are. It'll be right next to it, just one box, and it'll show you. Like I said, that's what gives it the signal and lets it know this panel is producing this much, this panel is producing this much. So if a panel goes down, that box on the side of your house will notify you, the company that installed it, and also the manufacturer that there's something happening. There's faulty wiring or just a bad panel.
Walk us through how long it takes to get the solar panels up. So I call a company, the company comes out, we talk about it, and I say, yes, I want it. How long does the process take?
Depending on workload, typically they say it's a total of 30 days from contract signed to done install. But the actual work itself is usually done in about 2 days.
Oh, wow. So 2 days, you get the solar up and running, and then do I then need to do something else with PG&E or something else, or automatically I put them on and yay, I start saving?
And so that's actually handled all by the solar company that you're using. What they'll do is they'll set up an inspection. So the city or the county or wherever you live, they'll come out and do an inspection, make sure everything is up to code. And then typically you'll get an email from PG&E because the company that you're using has contacted them and said, solar's ready to go, we've had all the approvals, it's signed off. So all you would do is an e-signature or a DocuSign to say, yes, we're good to go, and your solar's up and running.
I would imagine PG&E would not be happy if people go solar. But then again, they support solar. So do you know anything about that?
I don't. I know that there's still a service fee, and I don't know what that is exactly. It's, from what I understand, it's somewhere around $10, $15. It's going to change at different points of the year. They're upping it or they're bringing it back down. But yeah, they understand the benefits of solar. So PG&E is great. I mean, they're great to work with to get things done.
Other than savings, why should people go solar? Does it help the environment? What does it do?
Pretty much just the savings. One day, technology may get to the point where if there was a blackout or something, or it could bank the energy, one day it'll get there. The technology will be that forward that you'd be able to use it.
Have you ever dealt with malfunctioning solar panels? I mean, if these panels are producing electricity for my house, could I have a blackout if something happens?
No. No, so what PG&E is charging you for is to have power ready for you to go at any time. So if something were to happen, then you would still be able to pull from PG&E right away without any, they won't skip a beat. But in the time that I've been with solar, I haven't seen anything. I know my parents have had it for about 6-7 years, and they haven't had any issues. So I haven't really heard of anything going on.
You've been in this business fairly new. Talk about the learning. Like, do you get a lot of wow moments?
I do get a lot of wow moments. I do. Like I said, I thought it was all a big scam before too. I thought, no way you're going to save all this money. But I mean, there's people that their return on their investment is 3 years, 7 years. After that, oh my goodness, there's no more $300 bills. There's no more $700 bills. I mean, it really works.
So, and that's, I think, people who want to go solar tell me they're tired of the $700, $600, $500 bill. With solar, at least you know that generally you're going to stay at one payment or one amount for a very long time. Is that correct?
You'll stay at, the PG&E set fee that you have to pay will stay the same. And whatever you've worked out, whether you're taking out a loan or you're paying cash, you'll know because you're going to be handling that. So you'll know what your payments are. So like I said, it's typically the average of your PG&E bill will be the average of your payments.
And then after you pay it off,
then that's it.
Then it's yours.
That's it. The solar is yours.
Circling back to you, let's talk a little bit about education. You want to be a teacher. What area do you want to teach? Solar panels? I'm just playing.
Actually, I want to go into math. I want to become a high school math teacher or college math teacher.
That's an interesting. What's the reason for that?
I've always been interested in statistics and algebra and just the way things work. So I think that's pretty cool.
So for people who want to get into the solar business, what advice do you have for them?
Do your research. If you're going to work for a company, make sure that you'd be proud to put your name behind it. And just make sure that they have a good reputation, that they do right by people. That's one of my biggest things was, everybody can install solar panels. Everybody can do the same job, but you really want to make sure that it's a credible place that you're promoting.
Share with us your thoughts on, are you seeing a big trend going towards solar? I mean, we see commercials all the time about solar. We see that on the radio, on television, on the internet. It sounds like there's been a shift. People are leaning towards solar, but from the outside, that's what it looks like to me. What do you say on the inside?
I think there is a very big shift. I see that with the folks we have contacting us, the folks that are installing just in the past 3 months. I mean, it's been a phenomenal amount. People are tired of that $700 bill. And why not? You have a way out, utilize it. And who knows how long that tax credit will be around, that 30% tax credit for residential homes. And commercial, same thing. It works a little bit more in the favor of commercial because it's also like a piece of equipment. It depreciates.
You can write it off.
Yeah, exactly. So, it becomes a win-win situation, I think, to go solar.
How does the credit work? Is it in your taxes, or what happens for the credit?
So when you file taxes, it'll come back to you. It's a maximum of 3 years, but whatever you've paid in federal taxes, they'll match that, and then you'll get your tax credit back. So like I said, though, it's a maximum of 3 years. So by the end of the third year, if your tax credit was greater than that, it will pay out the entire amount in that third year.
So average, you're thinking what, 20%, 30% of what the panel costs, or is there a number you could put on it?
As far as the tax credit,
Yeah.
I mean, the tax credit is 30% of the entire thing. So
You can get into, I mean, if you do the numbers, there could be a savings advantage. I've heard both things. Some people lease, some people buy. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think it's what you say, do your research about it to see if, you know, it makes sense for you.
yeah, exactly. See what fits you.
I'm on the fence. I don't know if I'm going to get solar. Sell me why I should.
We'll definitely save you money on your PG&E bill. Like I said, your payments will be just about the same as you are paying PG&E. So why pay PG&E when you can pay off your loan or pay it off and own your solar?
Laura, tell me a little bit about how people can get in touch with you. Where can they call and how can they find out more?
They can go on to our website, www.turnkeyfresno.com, or call me on my cell phone at any time. I'm always happy to help. It's area code 559-999-0853. And, you know, all we need is a PG&E account number or Southern California Edison number, whatever it may be, and we can give you a free quote. And if it makes sense to you, it makes sense. If it doesn't, not a problem.
So be it. Laura, thank you for coming on the program this week.
Thank you, Sevag.
That's all for this edition of the Central Valley Ledger. Our guest was talking about solar and the benefits of going solar. Thank you to the volunteer crew that made this production and every production possible. We couldn't do it without them in the studio and behind the cameras now. Thank you also to those listening on 90.7 FM, KFSR Fresno, and to those watching on the Comcast CMAC channels, Comcast 93 and AT&T 99. We hope you enjoyed the program. Remember, if you're going solar, get 3 bids, talk to 3 companies, and make the best decision that's right for you. I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Tune in next week to a new edition.
KFSR and CMAC present the Central Valley Ledger every Sunday morning at 11:30. For a complete program schedule, visit kfsr.org.